afternoon, folks. Welcome to Real Estate After Dark, where the market never sleeps and neither do we. We are your late night source for insight and answers. So tonight, we're going to have an open forum. So we're just going to talk about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Have it all right here in my hand. Just what your thoughts are on it, what you love about it, what you hate about it. Are you excited it passed or are you not excited it passed? We're going to kind of touch on some things, real estate wise. What is it going to do for the market? What's it going to do for buyers, sellers, investors, and all that good stuff? So that's why I have my husband on here, Andrew Katulak, the unpaid laborer, AKA. So he understands this a lot more than I do. I've never really been into politics, which rightfully you don't really want to be much when you're in real estate.
Try not to. You don't really want to.
So this is, like I said, it's open. We have a link in the comment section. So we would love
if you don't see it, let us know, and I'll try to repost it again.
Yeah, if you don't see it, let us know. But you can click on that link and hop right in here with us and talk to us face to face. I'm hoping Mala and Donnie will jump on because they've got a lot of
insight
and opinions on all that kind of stuff. So we'll just dive right in. Hey there, honey. Do you miss me?
I miss you, of course. Thanks for inviting me to this.
I miss you, of course.
I'm not an expert on this, but I know some of the things.
You understand it way more than I do, and I don't want to get on here and act like I understand everything. But I was looking through.
I've been out of the loop the last couple of days, so.
Yeah. So we kind of looked over it a little bit and skimmed over it. So there are some things with investing. What are you noticing on that, Andrew? Like, I know you got excited about it. And you kept, because I mentioned possibly selling our house in Florida to buy a condo. But my husband kept telling me, let's wait until this bill passes, because why?
Well, one of the big things, if you're a short-term rental owner, there are some unique things for taxes that short-term rental owners can benefit from. But the one particular thing here is 100% bonus depreciation. So this is something I think that you can, if you are a long-term rental investor or a short-term rental investor, you can benefit from this. But the 100% bonus depreciation is where you say you purchase a home for, say, $600,000, and then you put about $50,000 in it. Yeah. You can immediately write off that $50,000 at year one, where normally what you'd have to do is say, okay, this $50,000, I have to depreciate it over 39 years. So for short-term rentals, it's 39 years. For long-term, so that's like your standard lease, it's 27 and a half years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally you'd take that and you'd depreciate it over, you take that $50,000 divided by 39, and you can only write off that much every year.
Wow.
But with your bonus depreciation, you can write that off immediately. So
nice.
I thought you had a question. So another thing you can do with that is what's called a cost segregation study. So there's a lot of things with the house that you can depreciate faster. So for say example, with a short-term rental, you put furniture in it. So the furniture is not expected to last 39 years. There's a lot of systems and things like that in the house that are not expected to last 39 years, like appliances and that kind of thing. So what you can do is accelerate that depreciation. So it's a 5-year, a 7-year, a 15-year life expectancy. So you pay to do a cost segregation study. A guy comes in, he does basically an evaluation of your property. He does an appraisal, not necessarily a value of the house, but he does an appraisal about everything in the house, and that way they can assign a life expectancy to it. So again, using that $600,000 example, maybe 150,000 of that is allocated to like a 5 or 15-year, depreciation schedule instead of 39 years. So, like your flooring and your appliances and that kind of stuff. So you could write off that entire amount up front, $150,000. You can write that up or write that off.
Yeah.
With that,
I know that they said there's a mortgage interest deduction extended. It was, it would have expired on the after 2025, but they paid it permanent for $750,000 for a mortgage acquisition. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's another big tax benefit is, your mortgage. If you put a mortgage on the property, you can write off that, that interest amount. So that was one of the things I was excited about. This is something that was passed back in 2017 and it was phased out. It was 100% for a couple of years, then it went down to 60, 70 and that kind of thing. And now it'll be back. So what it'll do is it'll put a lot of investors in the market because you can just keep rolling that forward. You buy a property, you depreciate it, you buy a property, you depreciate it, and they can just use that money to keep investing, and that could, it could put a little bump in the market.
Yeah, maybe Florida will go up for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that may help some of our investors in this area too.
Yeah. Yeah, and they stop calling us and trying to get it for $200,000 cheaper.
Right.
Yeah, still want to call that guy. Mila, I don't know if you heard us, but there is a link in the comment section. I would love for you and Donnie to click on that and join in with us. And if we can't hear you, that's okay. We're just chatting here. I want to know what y'all think about this bill passing. And there was something else. So they're talking about the USDA. What were you reading on that?
So on the
USDA
so that was
loans.
the USDA. So let me see where did I have that? The rural benefits. So the rural loans.
I know the amount. I know here didn't the household income limits go up? I know that, but that's not part of this bill. But that's something else that's interesting that has happened here recently.
Let me go scroll through what I had because
Andrew's probably scrolling too. Here. I can't. There's so many pages here.
I know.
Offshore oil. I know.
Tax credits.
So have you read about the Trump account?
The Trump account?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that.
So
No,
it's not something. So it's not something that's going to help immediately. But the Trump account, what they're going to do is any child that's born. I think it's for a certain period of time, but it starts this year for however many years. So when child is born, they'll be set up a tax-free savings account. They'll get $1,000 set in there from the government. And so you basically, as a parent, you'll have control of that account, and you'll be able to actually deposit money into that account as well, tax-free. So up to $5,000 a year, tax-free into that account for, I guess, until the child turns 18. Once a child turns 18, then they can use that money for a lot of different things. One of them being to purchase a home.
Yeah.
So I think they get vested. It's not like they can immediately have it, but they can have a certain portion of it. And then as they turn, as they get older, up to 30, then they can get it all. But
it can go toward education, housing, and there was one more thing, but I can't remember what that was.
Yeah. So what is the IRC 139K? It's a brand new section introduced in the bill. It's aimed at encouraging more lending in rural areas. So it allows qualifying lenders to exclude 25% of interest income earned on loans that are secured by rural or agricultural real estate and issued to qualified buyers like farmers, ranchers, rural homeowners, or small rural businesses. So that 25% exclusion applies directly to lenders' taxable income, reducing the tax they owe on the portion of their loan portfolio. So it's supposed to help lower the interest rates for rural home buyers, make financing more accessible for rural real estate developers and invest, hopefully, increase more investment flow into rural areas, which is good because that'll help the areas, outside of Murfreesboro and Shelbyville and the big city areas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be a big plus for, a lot of those that are looking to be more on the outskirts.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Milo and them. They're so shy. It's funny. It's so cute. You're cute. Hop in here and talk to us. So also they're talking about the child tax credit. So that's going up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that the one, was that locked in place for definite? There was a few things that have become, I guess, where it's
Permanent.
It's not going to change.
Right. So
nobody
it was
can,
originally going to be temporary, and that was a lot of it was going to expire this year. And
Yeah.
so that's why they're saying, taxes would have increased so much this year had everything expired. All these deductions and, the different tax rates and all that, but this makes them permanent or it extends them even longer.
so the things that you were talking about starting off, was that a permanent thing or is that for a certain amount of time to 2028?
The Trump account, that is going to be temporary. I think that was, maybe 2028. So if you have 2025 to 2028,
Yeah.
I'm trying to look it up, but yeah, if you
But all
have a
this
child
stuff,
born.
I mean, if you think about it, a lot of these things that we're talking about, that's just kind of putting money back into your pocket,
Mhm.
So you've got more money that you can spend on
Utilize.
housing or, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure that I haven't looked all the way through it.
Yeah, I was just hoping that there would be some viewers out there that are more, kept, in tune with
What's going on with
what's going on with it. And I mean, we watch it, but and you would think it all would stick, but they hadn't really been discussing what so much is in the bill. It's just about against it or for it, So in that they're not discussing like details on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things in there already that will affect the ability to buy a home, or invest in a property in some way. When you talked about the your income, the no tax on overtime. There's a lot of overtime income earners. There's a lot of tips income earners. The child tax credit. All of these things you'll be paying less taxes on or getting a higher credit for, which is going to be money you can put towards a home or put towards mortgage payments or something
Yeah.
like that. That's going to free up a lot of cash for a lot of families. The tax deduction. So your sales tax deductions. So there was a limit on that, and that's going up as well. I think it's going from 10,000 to 40,000.
40,000.
year.
Yeah, it's a huge jump.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you're spending a lot of money on items and your sales tax is high, you deduct that every year, but there was a limit. I don't think a lot of people are hitting that, but still.
Standard deduction, did that go up at all?
I don't know if it went up or if it was able to be extended. So the standard deduction doubled back then.
Yeah.
But that has also extended, but I don't know if it's increased or not in this bill.
Gotcha.
Let me see.
So it's gone back to Congress. So they're just they've got some amendments or something to do, or what's the deal with that?
Yeah, so it went to the House and then it went to Senate. Senate made some amendments, some small amendments. So now just the procedure is it has to go back to the House so they can basically vote on the amendments from there. So however long that process takes.
And we were talking about how cool it would be if he actually gets to sign this on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
That would be,
I mean,
Okay, so standard deduction did increase it, so it's going up to married filing jointly will be $31,500.
was 25.
Yeah, I think it was in the 20s, and then single filers is 15,750, and then if you're 65 plus, you get an additional deduction, 4,000 per individual.
I wonder if that's new.
That is
Well,
new.
that's
New.
for self-employed.
Yeah.
The deductions for us, and I think there was a raise in that where we can have more deductions and keep more in our pocket.
Yeah. I don't know. I
I forgot if that's. I remember seeing something.
What was that you were worried about when you seen like this the write-offs, and you were talking about
QBI deduction, qualified business income deductions on pass-through entities, sole proprietorships, LLCs, S corps, and partnerships.
Well, we wouldn't be any of those unless we have an LLC.
We're a sole proprietorship,
Not if you don't file that way,
but
right,
I mean,
baby?
Well, if you're a real estate agent, you're going to either be a sole proprietor or an LLC.
Yeah.
Or an
I
S
thought you
corp.
had
Some
to
of
be
them-
like-
when you're
If you make enough
you're
money, you
S
might be an
Yeah.
S corp.
Yeah, so it's the old rule deducted was 20% qualified business income. Now it's 23%, and it's permanent.
Say that again.
The old rule was deduct 20% of your qualified business incomes. So we can only deduct 20% of what our income was.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can do 23%,
Mhm.
which,
Every little bit helps.
yeah, every little bit helps. I mean, that's, a couple $100 more,
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
be
So
till 1,000 plus.
if you remember, that was that 20% thing. We were able to get a 20% deduction off of yours. And that was one of the things that was set to expire this year too. So not only will it not expire, but it's increasing.
Oh, so it was going to expire, so we would have had nothing.
Yeah,
Right. No additional deduction.
So as a, self-employed business,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur, sole proprietary, I mean, we're able to now, our deductions are a little bit higher,
Yeah.
which is nice. Because I mean, sometimes you spend so much money trying to get business,
Mm-hmm.
and you can only do 20%, and you're spending way more than that
Yeah.
sometimes. So,
And so that does affect, if you are an investor and you have long-term rentals or you have short-term rentals, that QBI deduction was something that you would qualify for. So if you have $100,000 in income, you would automatically get a $20,000 deduction off the bat, and your taxable income now is reduced to 80 grand. So if you are,
Yeah. Right.
if it goes up, that's more. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. That's nice. Yeah, there's a lot of good things in here. I don't see anything, that they were all talking about and worried about, the Medicare and all that. I mean,
I'm sure that there's probably some things in there. I mean, we didn't really dig into it a whole lot
yeah.
because we were kind of focusing really on real estate
Mm-hmm.
earlier today. Because that's really more of what we're really
Yeah,
concerned
but
about.
there are some savings with Medicare, which in turn,
Yeah.
puts
So
it back into
there are going to
the
be some
market.
things.
whether it's real estate or,
Right. It's, you always got to have something that's not going to be great to get something good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a balance in it. And I think that's what the Senate and Congress are both been fighting over, is how to balance that out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So yeah, anyone got any insight something that they learned today that we don't know yet. We've been
Yeah.
in this office all day,
Well,
pretty much all day. We left for dinner.
we left for dinner,
Yeah,
and I went down.
You
I
went to
rode
my-
went to Goodlettsville earlier today.
thank you, Adam. Baby, he was my sign guy this time.
Oh,
If Andy Todd finds out, he's gonna be hot.
Mhm.
Well, and he taught it to be all right.
I bet he got paid though, huh?
Dude,
I did get paid.
he did.
I did get paid.
He
So
was
cut-
already going to Nashville to pick up Pepper Ridge sign. So
Mhm.
because we did the walkthrough, I said, you can go get the sign. And then I was like, oh, by the way, while you're down there,
Yeah, and then of course I get stuck in the traffic, because it's the tail end of them cleaning up the interstate from that slow car chase.
that
this morning.
car chase, I would call that a car crawl. That was not a car chase.
When I saw that this morning, I had to die laughing at that. So I just like, what in the world?
So you said she was arrested.
She was arrested.
Yeah.
Yep. After 4 hours though,
She was going
7.
Me and Andrew seen that on the news this morning, and we're like, why can they not just run her off the road? What are they waiting on? Well, guess
Well,
it
I
wasn't
mean, I
about
told you what
them.
I found out from Nick Worse said that the cops can't the officers can't do anything without command telling them that it's okay to do it. So
It
they had
took
to,
4 hours to get command to tell them to do it.
I guess, I don't know, but state troopers were the ones that done it.
They probably got tired of the daggone metro not doing anything. Sorry, baby. Squirrel.
So,
Squirrel.
but yeah. But let's see, what else was it that we?
What else
Found
we
it.
got?
So one of the things too, if you're a big investor, there are some exclusions now for what they call these opportunity zones. So if you buy some property in a dilapidated area or low income area or
Yeah.
whatever the opportunity zone is, and you use your capital to renovate it or to build, and then you sell it, now there's no capital gains tax on
wow.
that.
Well, there's also,
So-
if they can rent those out to a low income, you get to a low income, make it below the average on the rent. There's for affordable housing, you get some sort of benefit out of that too.
Right?
So someone comes in and takes like a building that needs repair or whatever and makes it into government housing, low income or
Into a low income,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to pull that one.
Well,
back
it
up.
doesn't even necessarily have to be, it just has to be in one of those areas. It doesn't have to be built for low income housing. It just has to be in an opportunity
think
zone, whatever
something different.
whatever
Yeah.
that
LIH.
it could.
Low income
Yeah, it
housing.
could just be low income. It could be an area that's slow growth, something like that. But
Just
what's great is like you can go in and flip a house and you can move it
Yes,
quickly
in
because you don't
return,
have to.
the developer must rent units at below market rates to qualify low income tenants.
Yeah, I think that's something different than what he's talking about though.
Could be.
So it's two separate
There's
things.
two
that
separate
are-
things
yeah.
into the other. So there's,
So he's talking about like bringing areas up
yeah,
and probably in
Mhm.
value. So someone that's going to go in and try to better, say that county or whatever. And then, yeah, you've got something different, which is also good.
yeah.
So. Yeah,
So I mean, there's a way,
lots of
so they're
things.
also trying to make it, so the bill's leaning towards helping low income
Well,
get better housing too.
it doesn't sound like this is really focused on giving rich people tons of tax breaks. Because a lot of things in here, I've noticed that there's income cutoff. Like if you make this much, like, it's not going to benefit you. It's for,
Yeah, this is designed to move property.
Mm-hmm.
which, wonder why. Maybe because he's a real estate investor. So, Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm excited about it. I know we've been on pins and needles, kind of waiting on it to see if it was going to pass. And 51 to 50, you can't get no damn closer than that.
No. When you told me that, of course, I hadn't been paying attention to it.
Andrew screenshot it and sent it to me. I didn't, or took a picture of the TV.
So if we bought a house in a really bad neighborhood and rehabbed a house, we would not pay capital gains.
Is that Mala?
Yep.
Yeah, well, it has to be in an opportunity zone. And so you'd have to figure out, if the house is in that opportunity zone. But also there's some kind of, you have to do it through a qualified, what is that called? Qualified, I'm trying to look for it here. I got a lot of stuff on here.
Like a broker, like financing wise?
No, more or less, it kind of has to be done like almost through a business in a way.
Oh, so it can't be individual.
Right.
So you just open you an LLC, Mila, and then you.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it says. I'm trying to see what the terminology
what is the formula for opportunity zones? We'll definitely have to dig into that.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about that. So
yeah, that's
something you and I should dig into and know more about.
Dig in on. Well, I mean, we've had several investors talk about stuff, so that'll be something definitely to kind of dig into on.
Yeah, there's 8,000. Let me see if this works. There's 8,700 opportunity zones.
Oh, wow. Is that all over the U.S.?
Yes.
Okay. See how many in Tennessee, out of curiosity.
You can check at property. Property is an opportunity.
It won't let me post a link.
Opportunity zones map. Okay.
So there's a map for it?
Yeah, it won't let me post a link though. It says it failed to post.
Oh.
That's right. We'll have to.
Let me look here. I'll look
how many in Alabama?
I'll open it up and look. Let's see. Oh, this is not a map.
Let's see. OBERTUN. Opportunity.
I'd have to.
Opportunity zones.
You're still there, right, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've opened up that map and it's loading.
Okay.
Oh, qualified opportunity fund. That's what it's called. That you have to. You have to make the investment through.
Opportunity, the U.S. Opportunity Zones tool.
Zones map. Alabama.
Let's see here.
I don't know how to read this thing.
Oh wow. Is that
all right?
Is that right? That looks like way more than what he said. How many did you say there were?
8,700.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm assuming it's these
the blue
areas.
Does it look blue on your end?
On mine, it's not. I don't even see them at all on mine. I guess it's still loading. I don't know. One of two.
Google.
They're in yellow on mine, actually. Yeah, it says Birmingham.
I'm gonna. Of course, I can't.
Yeah, I can't see any of that. Computer so far away from me.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few in Alabama. Pretty much the whole town of Crenshaw.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to see if there's any around Andalusia.
I'm gonna try to see if this is the same thing that you're.
His said his is yellow.
Well,
Oh, wow. Almost all of Crestview.
Oh, really? Mila.
Yeah, like all east of Crestview and then north. Yeah, almost that whole northeast corner of Okaloosa County is an opportunity zone.
Wow. All right, Mila. Create your LLC.
Florella. Let's see, where's Florella?
mhm.
I don't even know what
It's
you're
the-
doing at this point, Adam.
Well, I was trying to save it or pull it in, but for some reason it's not. Downloads today.
Yeah, there's Brantley. I can't.
Save. Yes. Okay. I don't know if it'll let me. Image file. Oh, well, there we go. Open.
Oh,
Oh,
Is that
nice.
what you're looking at, Andrew?
Well, I guess, yeah, it just took a while for it to load.
All these dark spots are the different opportunity zones.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see Andalusia there. I'm looking for, oh, Florella. Florella's at the bottom there, but I don't see it lighten up.
Yeah. I'm sure if I was to zoom in closer on some of it, it would take in.
show you more.
But there's quite a bit. I mean, just even if you look in Tennessee.
Yeah, what are
Yeah.
we showing in Tennessee?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. 00119,
Oops.
Alabama, Covington County. Opportunity zone, no.
So here's ours. So Woodbury's going to have a lot of it.
Makes sense.
Murfreesboro's got
What?
Rutherford County. Look at that.
Is that Christian?
No, that's all in the center.
Oh, wow.
All in Murfreesboro, the center point. So it could be like the main downtown areas and stuff.
Oh, Church Street,
Church
where they're
Street.
tearing all that stuff down.
Yeah. But see, here's out here.
I wonder if that's,
Smith, out here in
is that Smithville?
Smart, Morrison.
Oh, Morrison, Tennessee. Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, there's all kinds. I mean, even down in Nashville, look at this.
Wow.
There's different zones in Nashville.
Okay. So
No, it
keep-
does not. But it does not look like Florella is part of it.
It's still looking for
Interesting.
Florella. What's Florella?
It's right on the line there. When you come out of Okaloosa County, we go through it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Interesting. Well, that is definitely something to keep on our
Well,
radar.
Miramar's not. So
Well, darn.
there's
What is that? What area?
Okaloosa.
Huh.
There it is right in there.
Yeah.
Plus,
There's a little bitty speck down there. Okay.
so we got some places.
That's cool.
All
Well,
right.
that was fun.
Capital gains.
Which section is that?
So no changes on capital gains under the one big beautiful bill.
So it's still 250 and then 500.
Yes, 250 if single, 500 if married, lived
Yeah,
in the home 2 of the last 5 years.
That's good that that didn't change, because
Yeah.
I mean, that's. So,
um,
I think. I said I only did the real estate stuff.
the section changes, way student eligibility is needs. There's a lot of stuff that changed in like schooling and student loan eligibility.
Really
Mm-hmm.
wonder how good that stuff was.
Loan
or if it was-
repayment. This subtitle revises loan repayment options for federal student loans. Terminates all current student loan repayment plans for loans dispersed on or before July 1st, 2026.
Hmm.
May only offer borrowers 2 options for repayment of federal student loans: a standard repayment plan with the length of the repayment term determined by the total amount borrowed, and an income-based repayment plan to be known as the repayment assistance plan.
So I wonder how that's going to change things for students.
Oh, what is this? This section eliminates economic hardship and unemployment deferments beginning on July 1st, 2025. It also reduces the total period a borrower may be in forbearance.
So that there's going to make it, for some, well, so what that's doing, I think, is because a lot of people will take and defer. I mean, I can't say it. I mean, I did it myself.
Yeah.
I deferred deferred my payments for a long time on my student loans
Oh, yeah.
because I just couldn't afford to pay it. So
Well,
it was,
Yeah.
so there's
I know of
some changes.
somebody that has made a living out of just going to school. I mean, because as long as you're in school, you don't have to pay them back.
Right.
So we know of some people that are in their 70s still
Going to
taking
school.
classes.
Yeah.
And
So, I
still
mean,
hasn't
So
paid
I
back.
think that's where maybe why that changed.
Yeah. that
Which,
makes-
like I said,
yeah.
there's some things that people are not going to be happy about. and
But
that's
you
gonna
got yours forgiven, right?
be- Yes, I did. I did.
In the
I
nick
will
of
not
time.
fr- I will
Thank
not.
you, Joe Biden.
Yep. I will not complain about that one. And that
Yeah.
was a big
That
chunk.
was a blessing because didn't Melissa start coming due?
Yeah,
like,
Melissa's still paying on hers.
right when yours got forgiven, hers
Well,
came due.
hers were starting to be. It was October of last year,
Yeah,
and she was like, "Isn't yours supposed to? Did you get it?" I was like, "No,
you
I
pulled
didn't
it
get
up
anything."
and it said paid in full.
Paid in full. I was like, "Woo!" Yep, I
That's crazy.
did not complain on that one. So
Wonder what determined.
I don't know.
Maybe you had the sweet spot in the number of deferments.
I had something.
Like, all right, this man ain't got no money. He deferred, delete. Sorry.
I did not complain, and I made sure I printed everything out. I was like, "Thank you, sir. No
Oh.
complaints."
All
But
right.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it goes back. I mean, there's things in there that some people are not going to be happy about because it's going to take and cause them to have to change how they're doing things.
Yeah.
And I can understand that part of the student loans. So, I mean,
Well, what about the no tax on tips? I mean, I've been trying to see because I know that there's like a limit or something, but I have not found
not see that.
that in here yet.
The limit on the tax on tips, it's like $25,000 or $28,000. Yeah,
So,
which is a lot of tips.
yeah,
I would say most people that make tips don't make that in tips.
well, I guess it depends what you're doing and what kind of tips you get.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of exceptions, but still, your first $28,000 is not taxed.
Yeah, that's
Which is
pretty
still
good.
good though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like us, no tax on 23%. So, And I was also looking for the American-made vehicles where you can deduct your interest. I was trying to see if that was like backdated. And if you got it this year, do you get to deduct your interest? But I hadn't seen that. I hadn't. Yeah, there's a lot in here to cover. And you got to read it like a couple times to understand what it's saying. You know,
Yeah.
At least that's how I am.
For me, I'd probably have to read it a couple times.
Yeah.
I may have to go make me a copy of it
Mm-hmm.
because I definitely want to know what's in it.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really paid attention to it.
But
'Cause I
have
try
we-
not to get into politics too much.
No. So every term, I mean, presidents come up with something theirself, right? A plan, right? So I've never been interested to care even to care what was in that. So is this something that like is always a thing? Like they pass their bill? Does that change, Andrew, Mr. Politician?
Mr. Unpaid Labor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Every year they pass some kind of bill, and then they have to go through the whole concession process, and yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Are we the only ones interested in this? Because I'm not seeing anybody asking any questions.
Yeah, nobody
That's what-
wants to talk to us.
The bill allows up to $25,000 in tip income to be deducted from taxable income.
Gotcha.
If you earn over $160,000, up to $160,000 of income.
160,000, that was the limit. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's overall income, but the 25,000 of that can be deducted.
Yeah.
So if you're in the 15% tax bracket, that's $4,200. If you are, 20%, that would be $5,000.
Yeah.
A
I
year.
think those numbers are similar on the overtime, right? No tax on overtime up to a certain amount. I think it was about the same, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. So deduction cap on overtime. No cap on the dollar amount of overtime that can be deducted.
Huh.
If your total income is under 160,000.
Yeah, 160. That's what I was thinking.
Which that's
the
going to be
number
quite
was
a
the
bit of
same.
people.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot. That's
That's
huge.
a lot of people. That's going to benefit a lot of people.
Yeah.
I want to start making overtime.
It's like I don't want to be a salary employee no more.
I think you're over that number, ain't you?
Over
Well-
salary
Over 160.
depends on the day.
Well, if I'm not paying taxes on it,
Oh my God. He'll get a bonus check and the taxes kills him.
Well,
What
it's
about
30%. It's 30% taxes on bonuses.
Is there anything on bonuses? Did he change any of that? I wonder. Because you
well,
do
it just adds to your income. But when you get a bonus, it makes you look like you're making excessive amount of money for that pay period.
Yeah,
So they're going to tax it at the highest amount.
I believe they take in it 30% of taxes are taken out for bonuses.
That sounds about right.
I think it's above.
looks
Yeah,
about
because I
right.
know like when my wife gets bonuses from work, they eat her up on taxes on that.
Andrew got a good bonus. Good bonus. What was it, 2 years ago? And after taxes, it was like, what happened to it? Where did it go?
Yeah, it went on
Yeah.
the same.
And we still had to pay $90-something thousand in taxes. Something wrong with this system.
Yeah.
No,
2,000 regular.
what's that say? What is that?
Commissions and bonuses. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, our commissions are 30%. It's a
Well,
higher,
I don't think it's
about
30%.
28. It's
Yeah.
about 28%. So,
I just leave it in my account and pray that I got enough in there when it's over with to pay taxes.
Yeah, that overtime thing is a big deal. I mean, think about that. If if you're working a plant or a factory, typically that's where you're gonna make a lot of overtime or anywhere, and
Yeah.
you make 100 grand, and 20 grand of that was because of overtime that you worked. That's 20 grand that you don't have to pay taxes on, and
Yeah.
that's again, that's an extra $5,000 in your pocket.
Yeah.
You know,
That's huge.
that's like $400 a month. It's like getting a $400 a month raise.
Yeah.
right.
So
Because
that's increasing, like when lenders are looking at debt to income, if you count your overtime in that income, whenever, I don't remember how long you have to show consecutive overtime for them to count it. But I mean, that would change your debt to income and possibly the amount you qualify for. So that'll make a big impact on real estate for sure.
Well, yeah, because I mean, there's a certain time frame that they can start counting your overtime. So that'll definitely help people kind of raise up
Mm-hmm.
on their income level
Yeah.
for sure.
Melissa, I've been seeing all that good feedback you're getting on your little property in East Nashville. Good for you, girl. She's got the cutest little Airbnb. So if anybody's looking for a family member that wants to come in, I think it's 2-bedroom. Cute.
Gotcha.
But she can probably benefit from a lot of these tax breaks too.
Yeah.
With that.
So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see what happens after it goes back to Congress and gets finalized.
Yeah. What do y'all think as far as
Sleeps forward two bath.
Yeah, 2 baths. Yeah, it's got this cute little spiral staircase that goes up it. It's really cute. How long do y'all think it's gonna be before we see a change in the market? Well, the interest rates already started going down.
Jerome Powell's talking today again about not lowering interest rates because he's got to look at the data. Every
Who
time
said
that guy
that?
talks, Jerome Powell, the guy that controls the interest rates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was saying today, we need to look at the data. We get to see more. He's worried about inflation from tariffs, but it's not happening. Inflation keeps going down.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and the first time around when Trump was in, like I said, I didn't follow politics or whatever. You listen to the media and it was always something negative. No matter what he did, it was bad. But that's the first time we've had a businessman in the White House, right? So even then, things got better. They didn't get better as fast as they're getting better this time around, but he didn't know what he was doing,
Right.
He did. I say that lightly because he apparently knew what he was doing, but he didn't have a team because he didn't know who to go after
Or how to go about doing things.
Exactly. But he still managed to get it in better shape. Now he knows what he's doing. He knows he's not scared. And that's huge. I feel like the administration has been scared to do anything, charge tariffs. We pay tariffs, right? We've always paid tariffs to China and
right.
So why do they,
Well, my take on the tariffs and it was just listening to it and everything else is like, yes, we pay tariffs to them, but yet we weren't charging them as much to us. So
we weren't charging them anything, right?
There were some things, but it wasn't as much. But yeah, so it was kind of one of those that, you have to renegotiate those things every now and then to make improvements.
Yeah.
So yes, it's may cause things to go up a little bit, but it's going to adjust.
But you know how you fix that?
How?
Buy American made.
Well,
Then you ain't got to worry about it. Oh, what we got? What is that?
Income begins phasing out of 100,000 modified AGI for single.
Are you
5
posting
to
some
200.
links, babe?
No, I posted some information on interest deduction for vehicles. So up to $10,000 per year in auto loan interest on new vehicles with the final assembly in the USA for tax years 25 to 28. And then, but there's an income phase out though. So 200,000 for married filing jointly, and then 1,000 above these thresholds use $200 of the deduction. So basically, if you make over 300,000, you don't get the deduction at all.
Looks like we need to write off a lot more things this year. Because that's
The
after
vehicle
deduction.
must be assembled. Yeah, the vehicle must be assembled in the U.S. and newly purchased or financed vehicles from 2025 onward works whether you itemize deductions.
mine won't be in it because it's an older vehicle.
Yeah, new vehicles.
So, what you saying, babe? We can't do it?
Well, I mean, if our income limit, I don't know.
Do we need to do another cost segregation?
You
But
have
yeah,
to buy another property first.
God. Hi. Yeah, well, I've been trying. I've been sending you stuff. You ain't looking at it. I get an email that says, Andrew opened it or Andrew didn't open it. I like that MLS. In Florida, when they open your email,
Yeah.
it shows what they looked at. So you know that they actually got your email and that they're looking at that
Well, then
property.
you need to take and send the Real Tracks
A message.
a message saying,
This
hey,
is what you need to be
we
doing.
need to have this. So
What happens when you just delete it?
He is the deleting king. Look, somebody wants their appraisal from 10 years ago. Baby, I got it. Let me
and
just
he
pull
wonders
it
why
out.
he's an unpaid laborer.
I'm literally sitting here deleting emails right now. Select all, delete.
Fine.
Well, I hope, we've got just a few minutes left. So I hope that kind of gave some people some information because I know I kind of learned a few things.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and then
And what
now
to
we
dig
kind of
more.
know what we're looking for. That one that Andrew was talking about is huge. So maybe reaching out to some investor clients, like, hey, now is the time to.
yeah, and
to
it's,
snatch up
now
some-
it's going to be interesting to definitely see what is going to go on with the market now that this has been done.
Mhm.
To see what effects really start trickling out after this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Because that's, I think everybody in our market has been scared to death of what to do.
Mhm.
And this may be even part of what people have been holding people back.
Get them off the fence.
So with the
They're
stuff
not
with
as
the,
scared.
hopefully this won't make them as scared and they'll be willing to take and do something more
Mhm.
because they see that there's more benefits to buying a home.
Yeah. Well, there's still going to be that sweet spot, where you don't want to wait till the market is really on fire. Like you need to get in that little smooth transition area to where
Yeah.
you're not taking it one way or the other. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we've been preaching it for months that you really want to take and, date the rate, marry the home,
Yeah.
because when
You
the
can
interest
always
rates do start,
refinance.
you can always refinance when it comes down and rates are,
You know what?
we're starting to see that trickle effect coming in.
Yeah.
Which now those that have just bought will hopefully here in 6 months or something like that, whenever it was, could take and possibly refinance.
Yeah. Usually that's us telling the clients that or the customers that or whatever. But this weekend when I showed that home out in Ashland City, he hadn't bought a house in over 10 years. And he made the comment, he didn't really care what the payment looked like because it was like the interest rate can go down and I can always lower that. And I'm like, huh. Yes, you can. But, he's also looking at a smaller bracket because he has a lot of cash because he's cash, he's selling a house that has a lot of equity.
Yeah.
So he can put half down on the house. And so therefore the payment is not going to be that bad. And it can always go lower
Right.
when the interest rate
And that's part of, I've got some clients that I'm working with right now, and I'm trying to help them understand that because they're wanting to just pay cash.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get them to understand why not take that money that you have and put more down and buy something and
something nice.
get something loan, because if you're going to buy something that you have to fix, what's the sense of doing
Well,
that?
especially if you got to put another 100,000 into it and then you
Right.
just don't have 100,000 to do it. Yeah.
And it just doesn't make financial sense
Yeah.
in those aspects. Why not take and go ahead and put your money to work for you?
Yeah.
So
with 5 minutes left, Andrew, what is the one thing out of what in this bill you're most excited about?
Well, I think, there's a few things. The big thing for me is the no taxes on overtime and no taxes on tip, even though that won't affect me directly, but I know that will have a huge impact on the folks that do earn money that way. I mean, that's a lot of money back in your pocket. That's a huge amount of money back in your pocket. Being able, the things that we won't really feel so much are like the extension of, the mortgage interest rate deductions. We already have that. So it's not like we're not losing it, but we could have lost it, right?
Yeah.
If the bill didn't go through, we could have lost it. So, having those tax breaks remain available is huge. If you have a home with a lot of interest right now, especially since interest rates are higher, you have a better chance of being able to itemize that.
Yeah.
But saying that, your itemized or your standard deduction going up, might cover all that interest anyway if you have a lower interest rate like we do. So a lot of times we just don't hit that. So that did jump up from 29,000 to 31,500. So you get, more taxes or more of your income shielded from taxes. And the extension of that 20%. And then of course, if you're a real estate investor, the bonus depreciation deal, I think that'll fuel some more interest in the market, especially if interest rates come down. Then it makes a little more sense, if you're not being, if you're not having to pay
those high rates.
if you're able to get a tax deduction up front, you'll have more cash to invest. Yep.
Lots of good things.
And the game is to keep investing, right? So if you stop, like us, if you stop, then it's like you have to start paying a tax on your income. But if you keep buying houses, that income that you're earning off of these houses is shielded through bonus depreciation. So you just keep buying a house, you get the bonus depreciation, you shield your income from those taxes. It only catches up with you when you stop buying, because then now you've just got income. You got income coming in from all those houses, and now you got to pay taxes on it.
So what I'm taking away from this is we're going to be buying another property.
Well, I mean, we've been working on trying to get to where we can start buying something, and so that hopefully will help kind of
Well, look, you just
save
waited
us some money.
for all this to happen.
Right.
That's what
So
it
now
was.
we're, there's things that'll hopefully help us get to that now.
Mhm.
We just gotta take care of some things.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Andrew, for knowing about what's going on. And thanks for schooling me. And thanks for turning me on to Fox News. I love you.
Sorry, I made you an addict. Look, I mean, it's not like I even watched it a lot. You just started watching it.
Yeah. It's funny. It's just like always on now. That and Gutfeld. It used to be King of Queens and all that before we go to bed. Now it's Gutfeld.
Yeah, we've gone back to watching King of Queens because there's not much on TV
I
anymore.
tell you what, that daggone, what's that show that comes on and they're screaming with
Sein-
Kramer?
Oh, Seinfeld?
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
Oh my God, I'll be dead
Always
asleep
screaming.
and I'll wake up to them screaming at each other. And I'm like, ah. Anyways. Well, thank you
All right,
guys
babe.
for
come
joining
home.
us. If you did, Andrew, I'll see you at home, and then you guys, I'll see you next Tuesday.
Yep, and I'm going home.
Wait, who's that? Donnie? Where's Mama saying? Love,
Awesome show, guys.
love you, missed you. I wanted you on here. I'm gonna come down there and hog tie you and put her on. Love y'all. Good night.
Good night. We'll see y'all if you need anything or looking to buy or sell, invest in real estate, call us. You can reach me at 615-713-8600.
Or you can reach me 615-956-5250. And we are available all the time. Phone doesn't leave the side.
Nope. All right. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.